Hi, I'm Dave Ryan, class of '92. I'm a former general manager of this fine establishment here. Not a very good one, if truth be told, but I did my best. I'm here to talk to you about a couple albums that I wouldn't say, well, they don't mean a lot to me. I'm not saying that to diminish them, but they're unique. And they have stories behind them, and that's why I want to share them. So the first one, unless you are extremely versed in the UK dance scene of the late 90s, you have probably never heard of this band. Or if you have, you've only heard one of their songs. So this is Alabama 3, who are known as A3 in the US because the country mega band Alabama threatened to sue them for using the name Alabama. This album is Exile on Cold Harbor Lane. So it is unlike anything you have ever heard in your life, I guarantee. This is two guys, one from Scotland, one from Wales, who go by the aliases of Dwayne Love and Larry Love. And the album, the only way I can describe this album is techno-funk gospel country. The sound is so unique that I've never heard anything like it, and I doubt I will ever hear anything like it again. It is very of its time, post Manchester, pre-hardcore rave culture, and it's a great listen. They did a couple other albums that are okay. This album never sold well. It was on an independent label, and the only reason anybody knows who they are outside of the UK is because they did the theme to The Sopranos. Woke up this morning. You may have heard that, but it's unlikely you heard the rest of this album, but you should listen to it because it is really unique. This is my second album. Actually, it's not. This is the second Gin Blossoms album. Congratulations, I'm sorry. Good album on its own. But I want to talk about the first Gin Blossoms album, the first major label Gin Blossoms album, New Miserable Experience. And specifically, I want to talk about Doug Hopkins. Gin Blossoms were a band from Tempe, Arizona, very popular locally. My wife is from Tempe, so I've heard many stories about them. And they got a big label deal and made their album. The problem is that Doug Hopkins, who was one of their main songwriters, was a very troubled guy. He suffered from extreme depression and abused drugs. And long story short, Gin Blossoms had two big singles, Hey Jealousy, Found Out About You, from their album. The rest of the album is really good too, recommend it. And then Doug Hopkins killed himself because he couldn't handle the pressure and he couldn't handle the drugs. So Gin Blossoms are one of the great what-ifs in history because their debut album was so exceedingly well crafted. And a lot of it has to do with Doug Hopkins' songwritings. The other guys wrote a lot of the songs too, and they're no slouches, and this album is a good album too without Doug. And he had really been almost kicked out of the band by the time New Miserable Experience comes out because he was too unreliable. But if you can only think about what if Doug Hopkins had stayed alive and that group had stayed together, they could have been one of the all-time greats. I'm positive because they had that level of talent, and it's a darn shame that it didn't come to be.